Okay, this was a mistake. I was like, oh, the sun will provide lots of wonderful natural light, but it's also making it impossible for me to use my eyes. So I don't know. I might have to reconsider this. It's an outside day today because it's coolish because it's morning. To get warm, Texas warm, um, coming up here pretty soon in the next hour or so. Yeah. So this is cool for right now. So I thought I would take the opportunity to be outside. Also, the sounds are better out here than they are inside. Inside, you'll just hear the fan going. Um, but out here, you can hear the birds. You can hear the dogs rustling. You can hear other dogs barking. There was a sound earlier that you would hear. I was like, oh, shoot. It's going to bug the stream, but I don't remember what it was. Ooh, there's a tiny bit of shade from the tree. See, the sun is like right between two branches of my tree. So if I can just hide in one, it's fine. So welcome to Mornings with Mary Margaret. Welcome to Thursday. Almost made it through the week. My coffee is iced today. It's iced. Fun fact, because I am thankful for this. I made this cold brew in a French press. You put some coffee in the bottom of the French press. You put some regular cold water in the French press. You put the French press in the refrigerator overnight, and then you got cold brew in the morning. It doesn't take all night. We are going to be testing how long it does take because I just put some new stuff in the fridge. And so I'll be looking at it periodically throughout the day to see if it's dark enough to be coffee. And then also, fun fact, that these ice cubes are leftover cold brew from a different day that I just put in the ice cube tray. So that's your fun, thankful Thursday coffee. Coffee making fact for the day. I'm like way overexposed. Holy goodness. Whoa. The camera agreed. Yeah, this lighting is going to be an interesting one. Whoa. Look at that. It's so crazy. It's like, it probably, because it knows my face. It knows because cameras know what faces are now. You know what that is? Did you know that? I mean, there's a lot going on about facial recognition right now. But the camera knew which part my face was. And when that goes in complete shadow, it's like, oh, we gotta adjust. Bam. Okay. So it's very bright. I've made a terrible error. Thankful Thursday. What am I thankful for today? Today is June 18th. Tomorrow is June 19th, which is Juneteenth, which is an important holiday. But the 19th of every month has been historically important to me for the past how many years? 7? I think this will be the 7th. This would have been the 7th year, so like 7, but 6 when you count it, because I don't know, I'd have to look back and see when it started. But anyway, what I'm talking about here is I went to Calvin College. I don't know how many of you know that. There's only one of you watching right now, so maybe you probably know it because you're the kind of person who's watching the stream live. But went to Calvin College, which is a small liberal arts college in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Fun fact, it's also where Betsy DeVos went to college. We don't like to talk about that. Half the college is named after her. Well, not after her specifically. Well, maybe. I don't know. Named after whoever in her family gave the money to the college, which could have been her. Who knows? Well, it wasn't it was the family she married into. She was also a prince, and big portion of the college is named after her maiden name too. So she's just all over it. Anyway, went to Calvin College, which has a lot going for it other than Betsy DeVos. Thank goodness. I'm gonna do this so that you can see me, and so that I can see myself because I can't see anything. It is a Christian college, and it is, at least when I was going there, I don't really keep up with what things are like there now. But at least when I was going there, they had a very large general ed requirement. So like, I don't know, there were numbers attached to it, but you know how when you go to college, you have to take like a certain number of history classes, a certain number of math classes, a certain number of art classes, or whatever. And that's typical pretty much every college. There are some colleges that don't do that, but that's typical. But Calvin, when I was going there, their whole thing, their big draw was that they had, or at least they thought it was their big draw, that they had like the biggest general studies. They called it, what did they call it? The core? Yeah, they call it core. But they had the biggest general studies requirement for students of many of any college in the states. I don't know. I don't really remember like the whole details about it. I just remember that they required a lot of, oh look, if I have good posture, if I make my head look like a small little bean on top of my shoulders, it's far away from the camera. Yeah, I've really wanged it on this one. But they required a lot of general studies because they were really trying to promote the liberal arts. And I could go into that a lot because that is another thing that I'm very thankful for, is having gone to that school. I have a lot of weird feelings about Calvin College now, not being in it anymore. Because I don't know, I was sort of oblivious at the time that I was going through it that not everyone was having the same experience that I was, but I had a very good college experience, and really loved my school, and I really loved my professors, and I really loved my program. So I went to college for English. This is what it was called when I went into it. They now have it, well, at least, I don't know. By the time I left it, they had split it up into English language, English writing, and English like literature. So there was like reading, writing, and then the language itself. So when I entered the school, all of those three programs were combined, and you had to take a little bit of all of those things in order to get an English degree. By the time I left, they had sort of separated out a little bit. So there was like a linguistics portion and then like a literature portion. And there was like a lot of overlap in terms of not the classes so much, but in terms of like who taught the classes. Like the Russian lit professor, who was an English department professor, he was a linguist guy, so he taught some of the linguistic classes. And then the like professor who did like Chaucer, excuse you, was also a linguist professor. So she did some of the linguist classes. Anyway, there's a lot of overlap with the professors and everything. It wasn't so much dividing the department as it was dividing like your degree, so that you could like focus on writing, language, or literature, because it was becoming apparent that students wanted to be able to focus in that. But when I went into it, it was all one, and which is really good for me because I would not have known what I wanted to study. And turns out I wanted to study it all because I'm a big old nerd, but also because I think I'm way more interested in linguistics than I thought I was when I was going into college. I thought in college, all I wanted to do was write. But I realize now that pretty much all I wanted to do was read and learn about language and people's usage of language. I think if I were the same person now going into college, if I were who I am now, if I were a 30-year-old in an 18-year-old's body going to college, I would have taken more poetry classes. But that wasn't what I was into then. Anyway, this is all like way round the bend. I was like entrenched in the English department at Calvin College. And it's sort of sad to think about it sometimes now because I really wish I had stayed in better contact with like my professors. I stayed in fairly good contact with the students, like my cohort of both English student teachers, because I was in there for education, teaching high school and middle school. So I stayed in touch sort of with that cohort of teachers. But I think I sort of lost touch because I didn't live in Michigan. I sort of lost touch with my professors, which is a big bummer because they were really cool people, and I would have liked to have had a longer like mentorship relationship with them. Wait. And that's on me. But I mean, I don't really blame myself for it because it was like changing. I moved across country. I was very young. Didn't really know what I was doing. I lost contact with a lot of people that I wish I hadn't lost contact with, and that's just life. But one thing that helped me stay involved in the Calvin community is sort of bittersweet now because this is all going back to the 19th. After I graduated, so 2013, took a little victory lap of a year. We don't need to talk about that. And after I graduated, I'm not really sure where it started, but I would guess that a friend of mine who really wanted to make his living writing, plus a friend of mine who had spent her entire college career being like editor-in-chief of the newspaper and just like not just a writer but also like an organizer of people and an editor. The two of them plus some other people who I don't know as well, and a professor who I guess I don't know why she specifically like took over this whole. Well, I mean, I could see really any of the professors doing it, but Deborah Reenstra, who's a professor at Calvin, and I believe still a professor at Calvin, she sort of spearheaded among the professors this project to make an alumni blog, basically. It's a daily blog, and every day, so there are 28 regular contributors to the blog, and they are each assigned a day of the month, so 1 to 28. And then for the months that have days beyond 28, not we, but people, the editors of the blog, would find guest contributors, usually also alumni, or in some way in some other way connected to the Calvin community, and they would write a blog. We would sometimes do themed blogs, which is what we're doing this month, and we would sometimes just like, I think it was more natural, but we would sometimes like end up communicating with each other through blogs because like one person would write on one topic and then another person would read it and have like something to say about it or something to respond to it in some way. So some people that were in my graduating class that I was relatively, that I at least knew in college. Um, the main way I've communicated with them is passive aggressively through blog. I mean, it's not passive, it's not aggressive, but it's passively, where it's just like I write about them or write about something that they've written. Um, and yeah, so I've been doing that since 2000. I think 2013. I think it was like the year that I graduated and started in like July. Like my first blog was in July um, of 2013. I would have to go back and look at it, but I'm almost positive that would be it. Um, yeah, and my last blog is tomorrow. I have to turn it in today. Um, so the tagline, the blog is called The Post Calvin because it's after Calvin College. Everyone who writes for it is a Calvin alumni, so they're in their life. If their life is broken up into stages, they are in the post Calvin part of their life. Also, blogs are posts, so post Calvin. And then the tagline for it is 30 under 30. Because there's roughly 30 people, and all of the contributors, as far as I know, have been under 30 years old. Spoiler alert, or secrets out, I'm 30. Turned 30 in December. And I was just at that weird cusp where it's like I would have 6 months. I didn't want to leave the blog if I didn't have to. And so I asked them last year, I was like, hey, I am going to turn 30 this year, but it's going to be in December. So I would have exactly 6 months of both being 30 and being 29. And they were like, cool. We sort of made this rule. We set precedent where it's like, well, if you turn 30 in December, you can stay. Because if you turn 30 in January, you can stay. I don't know what their whole reasoning was, but I was appreciative of it because it gave me another year. And they're off. Gave me another year to write for this blog. The sun is in the perfect spot now, so now I can just like sit like a regular person. So I got an extra year to write for this blog, but tomorrow is my last one, and I'm really thankful for the blog itself, for all the reasons I think I've already sort of roundabout stated. It's connected me to the school and kept me sort of in tune with what was going on and the kinds of things that were important to students on campus for much longer than I would have if I hadn't written for it, or stayed in contact with the blog in general, because reading, there are alumni that are younger than me. What? But yeah, there are alumni who graduated like this year. Some of the alumni who are starting, I guess they're starting next month, but they just graduated 2020. I guess I don't know if any of them are. I don't know who's starting, who's taking my place, for instance. But they write about different things, and they had a different experience. I mean, we all had different experiences at college, but it's meaningful to me to be aware of the things that are continuing to change at that school, because there's a lot of things that sort of force that school to change in ways that it didn't want to, and so it is like financial problems is like a very nice way of putting it, but they the changes that they had to make prompted very difficult conversations and very just like a different culture on campus than what was there when I was there. Because for the most part, when I was there, those financial problems were not known. They were there. They were not. The school was not aware of them. They were being hidden. It's a whole thing, people. It makes me very mad, but I won't go into that. Because that is not something I'm thankful for. But yeah, I'm thankful for the connection to people who I would not be connected to otherwise, that this blog has given me. I'm also thankful, like the thing I'm most thankful for though is, well, I would say that the record of, I have like, what would that be, 12 times 7? I can do math. It's like 82. I mean, it's not 82. It's probably closer to like 80, or maybe even 12 times 6, which would be 70. No, that's no. 12 times 6 was 72. So 84 would be 7 times 12. But anyway, that, no, yeah, 84. That makes sense. Okay, sorry, math just like, learn your times tables, kids. I know you think you're going to have a calculator all the time, and I do. I have a calculator right here. It doesn't take, it's not worth my time to unlock that thing and multiply 12 times 7. So learn your times tables. Something I'm thankful for. But, I'm thankful for the log of 6 to 7 years of my life that is on the internet for the whole world to read. Some of which I look back and I'm like, oh, why did I write about that? I was so unaware, I guess, is like the way it feels. But that's just reality. I mean, you can't be aware of everything all the time. And I spent a good portion of my young adult life being completely unaware of most things outside of myself, which is maybe normal, but it doesn't, I mean, based on young people today, it doesn't seem normal. Or it doesn't seem like it's a given anyway. Normal is a strong word. That means nothing. But yeah, I look back at some of those blog posts and I'm a little uncomfortable. I don't like them. I mean, basically, that's the simplest way of putting it. I don't like them. But then there are some that I look back and they are really telling of like where I was mentally and emotionally and even like literally in my life at the time. I think I want to post, maybe I'll put it in the description of this video, some of my favorite blogs of some of my favorite posts of my own. Because yeah, I really like looking back at them. My goodness, that bird was a big dummy. Just landed like 6 feet away from both of my dogs. I mean, granted, it survived because I don't know what to do with it, but still, it's a big dummy. So yeah, maybe I'll post in the description some of my links to my favorite posts of mine. Like a very self-obsessed person, but whatever. This is my blog, so I can do whatever I want. You don't have to read it. But the other thing that I'm really thankful for, and that I'm really going to try to keep going, even though the blog is not, I'm not writing for it anymore, is that regular impetus, the regular deadline, the regular impetus to write, the regular deadline, the regular expectation that I needed to write something. It has been really helpful. Every month it just gave me a reason to look back on the month, on things that were important to me, on things that I wanted to talk about or thought I could talk about. And like I said, some months were more interesting or better than others in terms of what I came up with, but always writing, no matter what it was valuable. I guess I'm sort of proud of myself. I don't think I never missed a month in the time that I was around. I never wrote in the day before and was like, hey, you don't have anything, sorry. I don't know if anybody else did that, but I didn't. And that is not my strong suit. I am not a dependable person. So I am sort of proud of myself for dogs are funny. Sort of proud of myself for sort of kicking that aspect of myself. Um, Not falling prey to my own tendencies, my own. What's the opposite of your better angels? My worser devils, my lesser devils, my lesser instincts, baser instincts, maybe. Um, yeah, so I'm a little proud of myself for that. It's a stupid thing to be proud of because it's like I told them I would be writing, and so then I did, and that's that was not my job. I wasn't paid in any way, but that was essentially what I said I would do, and I did it, and I'm proud of that because I'm bad at that. And it's really it's a sad time that tomorrow is my last one. Um, it's just like another way of reminding myself that I'm getting older, which doesn't really matter because um, I think I'm at that. I think it's a unique sort of stage in your life where you neither care about getting older nor are excited about getting older. Like I just am. I just am. Yep. It's interesting to me to look at people who are much younger than me. I'm sort of coming into the part of middle age. I don't know. I don't think I'm technically middle aged until like 35 or something like that. But I'm coming into that part of your life where the people around you, you and the people around you are sort of like the ones running the show. Um, like the things that I like are the things that are on TV. The things that um, the trends that I care about are the trends, the mainstream trends right now. Like the 80s, really into it, digging the 80s and the comeback. Um, and I don't know that that's really going to necessarily be a trend that continues into the future because I don't think there really is a mainstream um, trend line anymore. But there are still like big box stores and stuff that people are um, a sort of a centralized. I don't know even why I'm talking about this, but yeah, I think I'm at that weird point in life where you don't care that you're getting older because it's just like you're not old enough to care about that yet. Um, but you don't feel young because like there's enough around you that reminds you that you are not the future. You are the present. um, and yeah, I don't know. I just yeah, I don't. And this is sad, but not because I'm sad that I'm getting older. This is sad because I'm losing a community. I'm not losing it. I'm transitioning to a different part of it. And yeah, I don't have much to say, much else to say, which is good because now we're at 28 minutes and I like to go 30 minutes. So my hair is very dirty today. I have not showered. I have not washed my hair. I do not remember the last time I washed my hair. Was it Monday? Was it Monday? Was it Monday? Actually, I think there's a record of it on the internet somewhere because I think I took a shower before I made one of these videos. It might have been Monday. Um, my hair is very dirty. It smells like espresso because I put some instant coffee in it yesterday to keep it from looking super greasy because I didn't have time to shower because I'm an adult. Um, but it looks nice on camera. Also, I'm wearing one of my new favorite shirts. It's both new and a new favorite. Well, the dog bit into it a little bit, so it's got a thing missing. The West. My new shirt I got. And that's what's going on in my life. Make good choices. I'll see you tomorrow for Flashback Friday. I may contrive tomorrow. Last time I contrived Flashback Friday, it was my niece's birthday. So I went back to the day of her birth as like a present. I don't think she even watched the videos because that'd be weird. But it was helpful for me because I don't even remember. I was alive when she was born, and I don't. But anyway, it's not anybody's birthday tomorrow that I know. I'm sure it's a lot of people's birthdays tomorrow, but it's not anyone that I know. But it is, excuse me, Juneteenth, and then it's also one of my best friend's birthdays over the weekend. So I may look for an interesting Juneteenth story, or from the past century, or I may go back 30 years to when my friend was born, or I may just roll the dice and we might just find a nice Juneteenth story. And by nice, I don't really mean nice. Juneteenth is an interesting holiday. If you don't know what Juneteenth is, I didn't know about it until I moved to Texas, which is, in retrospect, surprises no one. Talk about not being aware of anything outside yourself, but now I think the U.S. is much more aware of Juneteenth this year than they have been previously. And hopefully, if you don't know about Juneteenth, you can Google it. It is a whack concept. The just a brief history. The literal Juneteenth, the original Juneteenth was like in 1865, June 19th, 1865. I think it's 65. Was the date that slaves in the Galveston area of Texas, I'm sure other areas of Texas as well, discovered that they were free. So you can do the math, because the Emancipation Proclamation was, I believe, in January 1963. So we are going on 2.5 years that people were continued to be enslaved because no one told them that they were free. And so Juneteenth is a celebration of the last slaves becoming free in the U.S. And so there's just a lot about that is very, it's a very important holiday to those who are descended from slaves, for obvious reasons. But I think it's important that people who are not descended from slaves, and especially for people who are likely descended from slave holders, or at least benefited from the existence of slaveholders, which I definitely am one. I don't know if my ancestors ever owned a person. I mean, probably sometime in the past few millennia they owned a person, but I don't know if in more recent centuries they did. But I can definitely say I've benefited from the fact that people owned people, and that's so uncomfortable. And so I think Juneteenth is important. Birds. For me to think about this year and think about what it means to me, because it just doesn't feel like a good move to celebrate Juneteenth as a white person. Thinking of it as a day of remembrance, like I definitely sort of think of it as the kind of remembrance that happens, for instance, cardinals, ooh, pretty. the kind of remembrance that happens in various religious traditions, like Ramadan or Yom Kippur or Yom Kippur. I don't know the pronunciation of that, but Yom Kippur, where you remember um, your failings, and not in a way that's just meant to like leave you down there and just let you wallow in them, but in a sense of like you remember them so that you can move forward while being aware of your failings. I think Juneteenth could be that for me personally. So I got a little ahead of myself. Tomorrow is Flashback Friday. Anyway, it's been a joy and a dream. I will see you tomorrow. Well, no, I won't. You'll see me tomorrow. That's how this works.